one and only Bud Fletcher.
Well, my good friend, the best I can understand now, they asked me to come here and make you some talk. And they tell me that you folks was come here to listen, you know. But if you get through before me, well, just raise your hand up there. I want to tell you about a good friend, what I got. I was visit with him over that to Layfette, Lousianne. And one Sunday that we was going to his church, you know. And man, that preacher sure preach a fine sermon there. And when he get all through with his sermon, he said, now everybody what want to go to heaven, raise your hand. So everybody raised their hand except old man Trawhorn, way in the back there, you know. So when the people start get out, well, the preacher, he stopped there and he said, Monsieur Trawhorn, he said, notice that when I ask everybody want to go to heaven, then I say, you didn't raise your hand. You mean to tell me you didn't want to go to heaven there? Well, preacher man, he said, no, I'm not interested in that, me. Trawhorn, he said, I don't understand that. You mean to tell me when you die, you don't want to go on to heaven there? Well, I said, hold on, preacher man. He said, that's a different story there. He said, I thought you was hustling up a load to leave right away there. That's last winter that they got a fellow was come down here to make a duck hunt with Bagnall, you know. So he come from Houston there. He's with one of them oil company. I believe they call that the Quicksand Oil Company, something like that. Anyhow, he get way in behind Guédon over there to that Broussard hunt camp, you know. So man, he was making good hunt way back there in the marsh. And the telephone rang to that hunt camp there. And Broussard, he go answer, you know, he said, that's Broussard hunt camp, Broussard talking. The operation, she said, that's Mr. Brown is there, he's with the Quicksand Oil Company. That's Mr. Brown? Oh yeah, I said, Mr. Brown, well, he's here. She said, well, told him that's long distance, that's Houston calling there. Oh, well, hold on, man. He said, that Mr. Brown, he's not here right now. That fella's way back down in the marsh, man, in them duck hunt blind, you know. But she said, they didn't got no telephone out there? Well, no, he said, what you thought, man? They out there hunting some duck in the blind. They don't got no telephone in the marsh there. She said, well, Mr. Brown, you can get into the telephone there pretty quick? No, he said, that's going to take for about 3 or 4 hours to go way back there, and brought him in a boat there, you know. She said, well, look, she said, got Mr. Brown as quick as you can. That's emergency. And told him when he come to the telephone to call Houston. That's Operation 46. And tell him to call capital 26841. So she listened, man, she listened, didn't hear nothing. Hello, hello, man, she said, you was still there? Well, he said, sure, I'm still here, man. I was trying to figure out how to make that capital 2 there. They got one of them professors that to LSNU, you know, and he was telling me that every year and now and then, well, they send some professors, some teacher to them various foreign countries to see how they conduct their teaching, their class, you know. So he told me one year he's gone over that to Russia. So he said was visiting some class there, and he said that Russian teacher, he gonna try to show off there. So he asked his class, he said, now class, he said, who was the first human being on the face of the earth? One fella stand up, he said, teacher, man, that's Adam and Eve. He said, well, that's right, son, that's right, young man. He said, and you know what nationality they was? My sure teacher, he said, they was Russian. Well, he said, that's right, son, sure, that's right, man, of course. How you can tell, though, that they was Russian? Well, teacher, man, he said they just got one apple between them, and they didn't got no clothes to wear, and they didn't got no roof over their head, man, they called that paradise. Thank you, my friend. There was got old Guidry, he lived way out here around Judice, you know. He got put a nice place out there, and he take out all kind of insurance down his house and his family, and he's out barn there, you know. So one day his big barn there for his implement there, he catch on fire and he burn. So he called that insurance company there and he said, oh, look, I wish you're gonna come and see about my barn there. He says, barn clean to the ground. He said, I got to have some money so I can put that back there. He said, you can come and check on that, huh? So that insurance man come out there and he look all around, you know. Well, Guidry said, look like you got pretty big fire there. He said, well, yeah, that's right. He said, you bring me my money to pay that, huh? Well, now, Guidry, hold on. He said, got mistake someplace. He said, we didn't tell you we're going to give you the money for that, you know. Guidry said, hold on. He said, what you talk about? He said, you got the policy there, man. He said, you got to pay me the money on that. No, Guidry said, they didn't say that at all, that. He said, you check your policy good, then that little print, it said right there, all we got to do is put that back just like he was. Just rebuild that. Just put him just like he was before he born, you know. Guidry said, that gum. He said, I didn't thought nothing about that, you know. Well, look, he said, if that's the case there, he said, while you're here, you just better cancel that policy what I got on my wife there. He said, man, sure didn't want to took no chance on that, you know. Alexandre was live right on the edge of town there. He was raising chicken, you know, to sold that on the market. And man, the town start build that way. Of course, I guess everybody know how fast Lafayette growing, man. We got beautiful town there, friendly place too. And first thing you know, man, he said everybody build right against him. So Alexandre said, well, he can't do that, you know. So he pushed farther out there. And he said, man, he keep raise his chicken, but the traffic just go and come all the time there, man. They run over some of his chicken there, and he get worried about maybe they're going to start running past on his kids next, you know. So he called the state police, he called the city police, and it looked like nobody going to help him slow them traffic down, you know. So by and by, man, he get a bright idea there. He put a big sign right on the side of the road, say nudist colony crossing. Man, he said that's like his speed, yeah. I was in one of them oil company office right here to Lafayette is not too long ago there. And I was sitting down there talking with the receptionist, you know. And pretty soon one of them gadgets come in there. He got a bunch of reports, you know, what he wanted to turn in, and he got to pick up some supply there. So while he's standing there, well, the receptionist, she said, look. She said, Placide, she said, since you're in here, man, I want to tell you something. She said, we giving Earlene a shower. She said, you like to take part in that? He said, what you said, man? I said, run that by again there. She said, we're going to give Earlene a shower, and we'd like to know if you want to take part. You want to participate in that there? God bless Earlene. He said, man, you bet you can count me in. I'm going to dry her off, me.